Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're going to talk about Lonzo Ball, guard for New Orleans Pelicans, one of the three Ball brothers, one of the two that's actually in the league. And with his brother LaMelo getting drafted to Charlotte, it's kind of created some buzz around the Ball family once again. And props to LeVar Ball for calling it, putting his sons in the league. They're going to work on the last one, LiAngelo, the middle child. But the upside is that they're all really young still. I think they're all under the age of 23, and so there's a lot of time left. There's a lot of opportunity for player development amongst the three. We're gonna focus on Lonzo and kind of where we see him headed. Now his draft class, this is the year that they get extensions, and so far a lot of his draft class mates or whatever have been getting extensions, like large deals. With Jason Tatum being the head of that. I believe it was like somewhere above $200 million extension, and he deserves it. He's a superstar in that draft class. But with Lonzo, he didn't get an offer. And so it kind of raised question marks around because there are certain players that if you look at redrafts and stuff, there's players that were drafted after Lonzo or would be redrafted after Lonzo that have gotten paid. And so they're going to work with his management, his agent, I believe it's Rich Paul, and just try to get some sort of deal done and have kind of a redirection from where he's at today. And I was looking at like when he was first getting drafted, like the player comparisons. A lot of people were comparing him to Jason Kidd and to Ricky Rubio, and I still do think that's the case. I think it's trending towards Ricky Rubio because if you look at him play and stuff like that, he's just a more athletic version of him. They kind of put up this similar stats, somewhere around 10, 11, and like 7 or 8 assists. That's how Ricky Rubio was, and they were both like highly sought after, going heading into their drafts, respectively. And so that's kind of what we're seeing right now. And Lonzo hasn't had the smoothest kind of transition into the league. He's definitely outside of his other, I guess, his draft mates. He's the one that's had to deal with like a trade, in the middle of his development when he was drafted by the Lakers, having some criticism around there, and then getting drafted to the Pelicans along with some other players on the Lakers. And so he's had to make adjustments to his game, make adjustments to his shot. People were criticizing his shot, and I think he has made adjustments to his shot. I think he's being a little bit more aggressive. But this year, I believe he needs to be the third option. He's obviously not going to be the first option with Zion or the second option with Brandon Ingram, but he needs to be aggressive enough to be a third option. And they drafted, I believe, Kyra Lewis, who's a point guard who was a scorer or is a scorer, and they also have Bledsoe from Milwaukee, and so he has some competition at the guard spot, which is not ideal, but maybe it'll push him to develop in areas where he needs to be. It's kind of like, the Pelicans are saying, if you want to stay here, we need you to perform at this level. And that's with any job. They have these, one-on-ones, and they say, hey, you're performing here, we need you here. If you don't make it here, then we have to send you somewhere else. And Lonzo is talented enough to be in this league. That's no question. It's just like what type of player are we seeing right now? And I do think it's a Ricky Rubio, but I do think the ceiling, or the potential rather, would be a Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd, he had kind of a boost in his stats around his seventh year. And it took I didn't look at Jason Kidd closely, but it just looking at his stats, it's like whoa, it's like what happened in year seven. And I heard some conversations around his shot. He kind of changed it a little bit, as well as what Lonzo is doing. And so I do think that if Lonzo continues to, be aggressive and fight for that third option, I think he does have a chance to either stay in New Orleans, where I think it's the best opportunity for him. It's the best position for his development, having two of the best guys on that team not being a guard. They're both forwards, and so he can feed off of them. He can feed Zion the ball and get assists that way, um, or he can create his own shot, having Zion and having Bi to the side, and work on his shooting more and more, change his shot, and be a threat from the outside. which he's not doing too bad. If you look at his stats, he is increasing in his 3-point attempts for sure, and he's making a lot of his threes, and so that has increased. His points per game is about the same, and like Ricky Rubio, he was good at steals, but I think Ricky Rubio was a little bit stronger. He was averaging like about 2 steals a game, and rebounding. I think if Lonzo can up his rebounds, which he has the height. He's 6'6", and he's athletic, and so I think he can increase his rebounds and create some value there. But I do think that if he's not in, if for some reason he leaves New Orleans, I think he just needs to be on a team where they're not really fighting for the playoffs. I think he should go like the Ricky Rubio route, because if he's in a position where he's on a contending team, um, they might, if he's not progressing the way that the team, or maybe the fan base should see, or help the team, they're going to criticize him again. And he doesn't really deal with criticism well. And so I think he needs to be on a team that's not fighting for the playoffs right now and not contending. The Pelicans are kind of like in the they're like a contending team, but the West is so loaded that they're not gonna be able to get into the playoffs. Maybe the play-in tournament at the end of the season, but it's really a shot at the 7th or the 8th seed at this point, and if they even make it that far. But if they go the Ricky Rubio route, where he was on that team for, I think, for several seasons, and they weren't really contending. He can actually work on his development and not have the pressure from the team, from his teammates, or the outside, like the fans and stuff, or the media. So he can actually work on his game and be valuable to maybe another team that will contend in the future. So I do think there's some time between now and the rest of Lonzo's career, so he can put himself in a better position. I don't think he's going to be out of the league. I think he's going to be a 10 to um, $15 million player. Um, and so, yeah, I do see the good things for Lonzo, and I do think that he is going to pan out well. And if not, it's like he should go to Charlotte with his brother, because he has that chemistry with his brother, and they know how to bring the best in each other. And so that would also be a good look if he doesn't stay in New Orleans. And so those are my thoughts. And comment below if you think Lonzo should stay in New Orleans or go someplace else, like a Charlotte or like the Pistons, things of that nature. So let me know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Have a good one.